Okay, right now we might be authoritarians, but we have to take a shift towards facilitators, maybe towards just to facilitate them, provide them with the opportunity, and give them some flexibility to take the learning process themselves. Learners, we need to be continuous learners, need to learn new things to keep up with them basically. Because as they are learning so fast, we need to keep up with them. Updated regarding the use of technologies, and we need to see ourselves as well what the new emerging technologies are. Be trained with them, be trained with the technologies, so that when we are in a class, we should first know and then implement it. And we should learn from our mistakes, flexible to change, and reflective practitioners, and flexible to change. And what will be the shift in the learners? They would be now independent learners. They do not very much need us to learn. There are no more boundaries to their learning. More interactive, they would be posing more questions towards us rather us posing questions to them. They would be now. Right now, we are giving them assessment, and they are being assessed by us. In future, how I see is this: that they will be evaluating themselves. Already, this practice is going on, but in future they should be evaluating themselves or their peers, and they will be more critical analysts. They will be able to analyze whether they will be able to decide whether what they are doing is wrong or right, or are they following the correct path or not. That is it.
Okay, thank you. Questions, comments?
Well, you said that in future the students will be evaluating themselves, they will be self-evaluated. What would be the role of teachers at that time?
Basically, to keep them on the track. Help them, give them a criteria on which they should be evaluating each other.
How would they be doing so until they are not evaluating the things?
I didn't understand. How would we?
Without evaluation, how can they keep them on the track? How can they tell them that?
Maybe we can give them a rubric. Maybe we give them a target that, but they should be evaluating their learning themselves rather than us being so structured with those questions. They should know how much, whether they know. Yes.
Okay, probably the teachers can facilitate the learners in developing checklists and criteria that they all understand and they all agree to. And then it will help them to, so the teacher is always there as a facilitator. Use me when you want to. Sometimes I know that you might, I can get some resources for you and spread them around and so on, and then help you how to access the resources. So, you see, these role shifts happen with the role shift in the teacher.
He is the manager but not the dictator.
A teacher is not the only source of knowledge, but the teacher can provide, facilitate, manage, help, provide resources and so on. Okay, right. Thank you very much. With all the knowledge sharing that has happened in this group, you didn't really need to. Did you? But the knowledge generation has happened all from you. You have generated all this knowledge. I could have actually given you the same lecture, right? But here the knowledge has been generated from this room. You'll be the first one to see, but you're not sleeping now, I can see, right? That's great. Sorry?
If we were 16 and inexperienced, then we wouldn't know all this.
Then I wouldn't use this methodology. I would use a different methodology. And that's a very good, I think, observation, because sometimes teachers go to the class and it's a skill. How to engage people in discussion is a skill that you learn as part of your professional development. And you learn to do it in different ways. And with 5-year-olds, you can engage them in a discussion in a totally different way than a 15-year-old, experienced, non-experienced, whatever. And that's your skill as a facilitator, that you should be able to see the differences and not go to classes. Some of our colleagues sometimes say, you said discussion is good, so I went to class and said, all right, today we're all going to discuss. What? Why? How? We'll discuss something. All right, so, and the learner sit there and say, oh, she hasn't prepared today. Fine, good. And the class is a non-class because people don't know the discussion needs to be structured, planned and structured. And I think standing up and talking is much easier than being in the background and facilitating other people to talk. That's more difficult. Because it's so unpredictable. Who's going to talk, who's not? What are they going to say? How are you going to handle it? That's more unpredictable. So from that perspective, the discussion has been useful for me at least to know that first of all, you are all ready for the schools of tomorrow. But I just want to, before we end, I want us to focus for a little while on the last question because I think that would try and get us to the answer of who's involved and what's involved in professional development. Right? The question is, how do teachers normally learn to teach in the Pakistani context? And you can think about not teachers in general, but your own context. So if you're Beacon House, you think of your context. If you're educators, you think of your context and so on. How did you learn to teach? Moment of reflection. 2 minutes, total reflection time, quiet. And then we are going to take up this thing. What could be done to support teachers in learning to teach as recommendations from the discussion? All right? So, 2-3 minutes reflection time, and then as a result of that, write one recommendation on a sheet of paper separate from, so that you can give it to me and I can take it back and then probably put them together. Right? Teachers should have built-in reflection development time in their weekly timetables where they get together for a focus group or a shared reading circle activity. Fantastic. This sounds like the learning community model, right? I think teachers should learn to use the available resources efficiently and get maximum benefits for the students. How? This in turn would develop into creative, interactive, blah, 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 later flashback on their school life, all right? So should learn to use available resources. How can they learn? How do we support them to start using resources? Through peer observation, or through talking to each other, or through making resources available. There could be a number of ways for getting to this goal. Right? Interestingly, some of the statements I have are goal statements, and some of the statements I have are process statements. The question was more of a process statement, but doesn't matter because we need to have goals and the processes together, so it doesn't matter really, as long as we differentiate between the two. Okay. 1 or 2 more. Peer learning again, training workshops, on-the-job training, more teaching courses, workshops, learning from senior teachers, reflection on lessons, opportunities for development, taking risks through experience and experiments, but there's a caution to what extent. Right? When will you be fired for not doing what you're supposed to do? Okay, planning of curriculum, right. One can learn how to teach by developing passion and interest, and that can probably be done in a variety of ways. Peer observations again, teacher training. Teachers in Pakistani context generally learn through trial and error, but it's what is called sometimes experience. But research reading, teaching methodologies, attending good courses about them is very helpful. Teacher training programs, workshops. Okay. Have inspirational people around, people who can inspire you, to get you to learn. By getting feedback, and feedback could be done through the model of the peer observation model that we just got, which doesn't have to be necessarily from a senior colleague, but I'm sure when you sit there, you see a lot more than when you stand here. And so I'm sure you can help each other. This is what my practicum students say. I teach an MA class in a practicum course, and they don't realize till they stand up here. And then we have a peer group observation at the back, and they say, I didn't know I was doing that. Or did I say 10 times? And because then others can tell them what they were doing. They couldn't see this for themselves. Observations, observing peers. There seems to be a lot of agreement on these things. Right. weekly timetables for getting together, focus group discussions, and peer observations, etc. Right, training sessions for management. So I think what we are basically thinking about is that you're thinking of different ways of professional development programs. We're getting back to our models yesterday. There are umpteen ways in which teachers can be supported in learning to teach. By sending you out somewhere, and you're going through a quick, efficiently run program by an expert from somewhere. You can be supported in school, supported by peers, supported by experts, experienced teachers, mentors. You can be supported by just getting you into groups and giving you time to think and discuss with the way you've got now. And identify the gaps in your learning. So you as a group identify together that we really need to find out more about what was the thing that you were so confused about in your group? Diversity. And you know, you on one way you say there needs to be diversity and you celebrate diversity. On the other hand, you say there's a standardized system of assessment. Let's try and figure out how others are dealing with these two issues, because it's not you who has this. So how are other schools dealing? How are other countries dealing with it? So you need to do a little more research, a little more reading, and you identify gaps in your own knowledge. And you identify, if you're resourceful, you identify ways of doing it. So you can either sit and wait and say, next conference 2015, somebody will come from the UK and tell us the answer.
They cannot.
Or, I hope not, yes.
Honestly telling, I think unless you are in the local area, you know the real situation of Pakistani schools, you cannot tell and you cannot suggest the solution.
So you can actually start tomorrow instead of waiting to 2015 or 35 or wherever that is, and you can begin by doing things yourself. So who is involved in professional development? Can you answer that question for me? Each one, every one of you is involved in your own professional development. Thank you for that answer.